Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks so much for joining us here on KXAN Live. I'm Will DuPree. I get it. We are in the middle of the year. It's June, so we are not even done, halfway done with 2021, and yet there is a lot of predictions and expectations about what's to come politically next year. Of course, we're talking about the 2022 elections, and the big race here in Texas will be for the governorship in the state. So, we know right now that Governor Greg Abbott is going to run for re-election. He does have one challenger on the primary side right now who's running on to the right of him, and we are still waiting to see what the rest of the race will shape up to be. Will actor Matthew McConaughey join the race? Will Democrat Beto O'Rourke run for governor? These are why the Quinnipiac University pollsters decided to ask voters here in Texas how they felt about how the race is shaping up and who the candidate and potential candidates and what their attitudes might be for them. So we wanted to jump on to share some of those findings here in just a second. So if you take a look, the first question that Quinnipiac University asked of the 1,099 registered voters here in Texas was whether Governor Greg Abbott deserves re-election. And here's where those results found. The results out today show that 46% of the voters they polled say that Governor Abbott deserves re-election. Meanwhile, 48% say he does not. A big question has been about Matthew McConaughey, who does not have a specified political party, or at least has not shared that at this time. And voters were asked whether they would support him running for governor. And this is what they said. 41% say he should run. Of the overall voters that they polled, 47% say he should stay out of the race. And meanwhile, a lot of speculation has been about former Congressman Beto O'Rourke, who ran for Senate in 2018, then for president, and came up unsuccessfully in both of those pursuits. Should he run for governor? And voters here said that 52% oppose him running, while 41% support the idea of him jumping into the race. Another interesting finding when we look at all of those breakdowns of Governor Abbott, Matthew McConaughey, and Beto O'Rourke is how voters look at them favorably or unfavorably. And this is the favorability ratings that Quinnipiac University was able to tabulate from the voters that they polled. And if you take a look, the text might be a little small, but we just wanted to share all those stats. So Governor Greg Abbott has the highest favorability rating of all three men. He has 49% favorable rating, 43% unfavorable, and then 7% say they have not heard enough just yet. When it comes to Matthew McConaughey, 42% view him favorably, 20% unfavorably, and then by far the largest, 36% have not heard enough just yet. And then when it comes to Beto O'Rourke, 34% view him favorably, 42% unfavorably, and then 23% have not heard enough. Again, these are the results published today by Quinnipiac University. Earlier, I had a chance to talk to one of the polling analysts from Quinnipiac University. He goes by Tim Malloy, and Tim was talking to me about why Quinnipiac University decided to poll Texans when there are so many bellwether states around the country. And he said one of the big reasons is because of this race that's shaping up in the governor's seat with the potential candidacy of Matthew McConaughey. So here's our conversation that we had just a little bit earlier today about the breakdown of these results, and he shares some analysis with that. So again, you're going to hear from Tim Malloy with Quinnipiac University. Looking at Governor Greg Abbott's re-election odds at this point, what did Texas voters say about him running for re-election next year?
It is not a slam dunk that the governor would be reelected if it happened right now. He's 46% want him reelected, 48% do not. So that's not a terrible number. But then you look at the younger guys that are lining up to run against him. Not younger, not being that important necessarily, but who they are. And he might have an uphill fight. At least the early numbers tell us that.
Yeah, you all also polled about some of his recent policy proposals, particularly about this idea to build a wall along the border with Mexico here in Texas and have the state fund that. Where did that come out in the poll findings that you all just did?
There were two things. The governor wants to build a wall along the Texas border, and he also wants to arrest people crossing the border. Texans came down split on the idea of a wall, but were far more hardball as far as making arrests and incarcerating people crossing the border. So it's not 100% backing on the wall at all.
Going back to the governor's race now, there are potential candidates that are going to maybe get on the ballot next year against Governor Abbott, namely Beto O'Rourke on the Democratic side, and then actor Matthew McConaughey. It's unclear exactly where or for what party he might run in the gubernatorial race. How did voters feel about Beto potentially getting in the race there?
Democrats overwhelmingly, 77% want Beto O'Rourke to run. He does slightly less well than McConaughey overall, as far as overall voters. He's 41% want him to run, 52% do not want him to run. McConaughey, on the other hand, is doing favorability numbers very close to what the governor's got right now, and is apparently a very tantalizing candidate, despite the fact no one quite knows what political party affiliation he is, but it's really remarkable.
To know that the results show that McConaughey has same favorability or so of Governor Abbott, what does that tell you?
Well, it's an interesting state because, as you know, every election cycle we find it gets closer to purple and away from red. It's not a Democrat state at all, but it is moving in that direction. McConaughey is a native son and unknown. He's got star power, and he wrote a best-selling book that's still top on the shelves. And let's not rule that that's important. And he's a breath of fresh air. The fact that the governor is a big supporter of Trump and possibly Trumpian policies may work against him, may work for him as well. But something is definitely going on with Matthew McConaughey here.
If you're Matthew McConaughey right now, how do you read those numbers?
Well, it'd be hard to imagine being Matthew McConaughey. It'd be fun. But,
right.
If I were Matthew McConaughey, I'd look at those numbers and say, I got a shot.
And if you're Governor Abbott, on the flip side, what do you think?
I think Governor Abbott is still solid, but he might have formidable opponents in certainly these two, Beto O'Rourke and Matthew McConaughey. This is another reason why we polled this. This is a gubernatorial race unlike any we've seen.
There again, my interview earlier today with Tim Malloy, a polling analyst from Quinnipiac University. We have all these results broken down right now on our website. That's KXAN.com. You can also access it right on your smartphone on the KXAN News mobile app, so please download it if you've not done so already. Once again, I am Will DuPree here in the KXAN live studio. Thank you all for sticking around with our stream. Let us know what you think about these results in the comments section of this live stream over on Facebook, or send us an email about what you think about how the results broke down. We will say that the margin of error was about 3% in this poll. And again, they asked about 1,099 registered voters here in Texas, and it was in the last week that they did this polling. So again, we will have to see what these results spell out in the weeks and months ahead, and even the year ahead. For goodness sakes, we're a year away from this or more from the election. So we will, of course, keep a very close watch on it, and we thank you all again for watching. Please, everybody out there, stay safe and healthy, and take care. We'll see you back here at another time.